This is Training Module 2 of the NEISD Adult Education New Teacher Training Series. Welcome back. I hope you were able to complete the exit ticket activity for Training Module 1. It is also my hope that this video will give you even more information about teaching with our program. Let's move on. The agenda for our time together in this video is to discuss more about the processes and procedures of our program. We'll talk a little more about our student syllabi. There will be a brief discussion about teams, and I will be sharing some information about professional development in general and about the PD that is required as you begin your time with us as a new teacher. Let's start with talking about our classes. The class size varies, but if your student attendance falls below 10 students for 3 consecutive days, there is a real risk of our closing that class. You need to remind your students of that fact from day 1 and frequently during the term. Teachers are responsible for student attendance. There are several ways to encourage the students to have regular attendance, and one way is to encourage the students to encourage each other. Use the buddy system and encourage the buddies to text or call each other when they must be absent. Maybe you could have a table monitor. You could contact the students with the Remind texting system and remind them of class happenings and activities. If a student has been absent for more than 2 days, you must contact and record the reasons for their absence. See your Smart Book for the call log. If you have trouble getting a response or making progress, refer the issue to Aurora or Larry. By now, you've heard me ramble on using lots of things that sound like an exercise with the alphabet. Maybe it would be a good idea to let you in on our vocabulary and our acronyms. Look in your Smart Book for a long list of acronyms to use as a reference for conversations to come. Although we've done our best, I'm sure that we have probably left some acronyms out, so prepare to add to this list as time goes by. Our class schedule typically looks like this. Classes are held Mondays and Wednesdays or Tuesdays and Thursdays. We have morning classes from 8:30 to 11, noon classes from 12 to 2:30, and evening classes 6:30 to 9. You are expected to arrive at least 15 minutes prior to the start of class and remain in the classroom for the duration of the class time. Although much of this goes without saying, it's good to be reminded that teachers should not fraternize with the students outside of class. Do not touch minor students or allow adult students to touch or fraternize with minor students. Never give your students a ride in your car, and never give your students money. You are expected to attend all of your classes and not be tardy. But if you have to be absent, we will try one of 2 things. We might try to combine classes with another teacher. The teacher receiving the extra students will be able to log an extra 1.25 hours for teaching that combined class. If it is not possible or practical to combine classes, we can get a sub for a teacher. Just call me, Karen Condit, if you will be out, and together we'll decide on the best course of action. Do your best to call as far in advance of your absence as possible. You may remember me mentioning progress testing. This is just a quick word about that very important assessment. Students should get a progress test at least 1 calendar day after the stated time. That would be 40 to 60 hours depending on the class, but not more than 100 hours. The testing specialist will get testing materials to you and for your class for you to implement the tests to your students. Please pay close attention to your students' hours that are recorded in Teams. Working closely with the testing specialist and the office staff will ensure that all students are tested in a timely manner. One important factor about the progress testing is that our program's performance is measured by TWC's examination of the growth between pre-assessment at intake and post-assessment or progress test. Again, retention is very important so that our students have the correct number of instructional hours to qualify for the progress test. That test, in turn, is a measurement of our program's progress and performance. You should take a look at the syllabus for your class on the NEISD website. All of the syllabi for all the classes can be found on the NEISD website. An interesting reason that the syllabi were put on the website is so that students can translate the document into the language that they understand best. If you have internet access in your classroom, you might want to project that syllabus for your class on the board and discuss with your students how they can translate it and use it. This would be a great beginning activity for the first day of class. You should also give your students an additional page with specific information for your particular class, with specific information about what you expect from your students and what they can expect from you. And now, a word about TEAMS. TEAMS is the acronym for Texas Educating Adults Management System. This is a statewide database that contains a huge amount of information about each of our students, and it is the place where we can track contact hours and assessment data. All of this information is then used to calculate our program's performance. TEAMS is also the place where you will go to print off your attendance sheets. We'll discuss this further in video 3, but for now, stop this video and look over Appendix E in the SmartBook. There you will find the steps for gaining access to TEAMS for yourself. This is very important and should be taken care of as soon as possible. Here is a list of professional development that is required. Please try to take care of this within the first 30 days of your employment. Please note that the FERPA, along with your P41 certificate, are your tickets to getting access to TEAMS. Both of these trainings can be found on the TWC website. You can find the web address in your SmartBook. Here's a quick summary on what you need to do. The PD portal is where you will go to do your PII, Goal-Driven Learning, Understanding Adult Learners, and Adult Learning Principles. The TWC website will be the place where you will complete what you need to do for your TEAMS account. On this website, you will do your FERPA training and get your P41 certificate. Please refer to Appendix E in the SmartBook for the location of all of these PDs. This is a good time for me to mention that you need to alert Aurora or Larry when you have completed professional development. Send Larry an email with a copy of the certificate or reflection attached, or fill out a PD attendance form and get it to Larry. A copy of this form can be seen in Appendix D of the SmartBook, and you can find a copy of the PD attendance form on the bulletin board in the teacher resource room at Ferrari. You can also print off a copy of this form from the All Teachers page of A Bite of the Apple. There should be a form from every staff member every single month. If you don't have any PD hours for 1 month, you will still need to fill out a form and turn it in with 0 hours of PD. Such forms are looked for during our audits, so please help out the program by doing your part. How do the students end up in your class? For ESL students, it all begins with an information session. This is very much like an orientation because the students learn about our program through interpreters and fill out their registration form. It's also at this info session that they learn about the initial testing process. All students will come back after their initial info session to take the initial intake tests. After testing, they will return to Ferrari to get their class assignments. I mentioned this earlier, that taking the progress test is very important. One more reason for student retention is for students to have enough hours to take their progress tests. Note that students should not have fewer than 40 instructional hours or more than 100 hours by the time they take that progress test. Time for your exit ticket. Name the form that you will fill out before requesting access to Teams. Name 2 things from this video that you think you can use in your class. List 3 questions that you have as a result of watching this video. After you finish your exit ticket activity, which follows this video, you will see me in video module 3. Thanks so much for watching.